A video to this follow-up question that I got in response to a newsletter that was sent out this today, Tuesday. So if you're unaware, by the way, we have a newsletter that goes out. I don't publish this content anywhere else. If you want to get on that list, feel free to use the link down in the description. But I got this question. By the way, I love getting follow-up responses to our newsletter. It allows me to add context. Now, in all honesty, I could have just created a very short email response to this one. However, I did want to give some context on different data points between the business reports as well as the ad data, why calculating your organic or your ad sale percentage on a child item level, if it's a multivariation listing, could be problematic, as well as some broader context as to how we use ad sale percentage as sort of a barometer when it comes to assessing the health of your ad campaigns, being if you're being too aggressive or not aggressive enough. Because there's three numbers that we use sort of as barometers to really gauge the impact of the ads on the organic as well as just the total sales performance. Okay. So first up, I'm going to give some context on the data differences. So essentially this question, one of the 3 points in this newsletter was like analyzing traffic source performance and then like determining if you are maybe being too not aggressive enough in your ads or if you're being too aggressive with your ads. Ad sale percentage can definitely add context to that. And again, I'm going to get to that in the end when I talk about how we use ad sale percentage in context, because context is key here. But the question was some of the wording was kind of insinuated that we had figured out a way to assess the actual traffic sources, meaning not only how much sales is coming from organic versus total sales, but how much like the actual traffic is coming to. So I did want to get into the differences in the data sources, being the business reports and then the your ad data, and that's going to kind of flow into the next point on why calculating ad sale percentage on an individual child ASIN in multivariation listings is going to kind of be problematic. So when understanding sessions and understanding clicks, please know that these two numbers are not going to line up specifically. Oftentimes people will go into their account and they will sort of like assess the number of clicks they're getting, and they'll look at the sessions. They're like, this isn't possible given the total sales volume and all of these kind of things. And then they would be correct because sessions are calculated inside of the business reports as an individual shopper within a 24-hour window. Meaning if one specific shopper will navigate to the listing and visit your page more than once in a 24-hour period, that will only be counted as a single session, where in your Amazon ads or you're like in a cost per click model, you're charged for every time a shopper clicks on an ad, and it's possible for a shopper to click on more than one ad just depending on how things are going. And as far as the sales attribution, or the ads are calculated, it's like a last click model, being like the last ad that got the click is going to be the one that's attributing the sale to it. However, it could potentially be the same shopper clicking around a couple times, and that is entirely possible. And so for that reason, your sessions, meaning the traffic that is coming to your listing, again, one single person within a 24-hour period is counted as a session, and your clicks are not going to line up. That's just kind of the name of the game. There's not like a really good way to assess this. I'm currently trying to dig into some data points to see if it's even possible to assess, but really there's no real honest way to assess it that is going to be 100% accurate. Okay. Now, this flows into our second thing on how calculating ad sale percentage. So if you're not aware, I call ad sale percentage. Some people call like the ratio of ads to organic. It's essentially taking your total sales, subtracting your ad sales, and then saying, or not subtracting, taking your total ad sales, dividing it by your total sales, and that brings you a percentage. So it's what percentage of my total sales are coming from my ads, right? And this could be very helpful because if you're highly dependent on ad sales to drive, total sales for a product, that could be an issue. Now, how that calculation works comes down to the sales attribution differences for the ads versus your organic or your total sales. So in your ads, whatever product received the click, sponsored products, it could be the same product within, like, say, a listing, and sponsored brands, it says any products that are contained with are sold underneath that brand name. I have a whole video on kind of like what's the true ACOS of your sponsored brand ads, which, by the way, if you have licensed products, that's going to be a really, really important video for you to watch, but I digress. And so we get you can see how this potentially has discrepancies. So if a sale is attributed to, say, one variation because it's in the ads, and then when it's in the business reports, a business report is not going to report a sale that didn't actually happen on a specific product. So in that case, what you can end up doing is have one product that's getting all the ad sale attributions, and then the other product is getting all of the total sale attributions, the business reports, is the ones that's actually been purchased. And where that can kind of create issues in multi-variation listings is, say, one of them is getting all of the ad sale attribution but zero of the total sales volume. You're going to see 100% ad sale percentage on there. So it's like, oh my gosh, 100% of my sales are coming from ads. Well, essentially, there's like no sales whatsoever, so that could be kind of confusing. And then in other ways, you would say like, oh, there's no ad sales on this product, meaning this is not the one that's getting the click in the ads, but it's getting all of the sales inside of the business reports because that's the one that people are actually purchasing. And so if you're doing it on this granular level, when it comes, again, this is only multi-variation listings. If you have a single product listing, it's not going to matter. So what we will do to kind of mitigate this is we roll it up to the parent ASINs. We essentially look at all of the spend and all of the sales that are for a parent ASIN, and then we kind of can navigate it that way, and that smooths out the lumps pretty much. You can get some, really good numbers. Now, this is not really, I know there's some people who say like, oh, why would I not, like the attribution models are kind of weird. I really don't have a problem with it, because what I've seen in the past is, even if we have a bestseller, so the example I use all the time is that we had a multi-variation listing with a whole bunch of colors that we were advertising. The orange one is the one that performed phenomenally in the ads. It got the most clicks, it got the most engagement. We're actually getting lower cost per clicks because the engagement was so high, but then essentially everyone bought the black one. And if you looked in the business reports, it seems like the black one was the best performing variation. When we swapped in the ads for the black one to be the advertised product, it didn't perform as well. So you will end up with times where one of the like other color variations sort of acts like a funnel. And in those cases, it makes complete sense for Amazon to report the sales that way, because it helps you identify what actually performs best in ads. When it comes to like an ad analysis sort of thing, you want to make sure that like you're actually looking at what's performing best in ads. So it makes total sense. It's just something that you should be aware of when it comes to optimizing and calculating this ad sale attribution. Okay, so that's my little spiel on that. Now, the very last thing I want to talk about is how you can actually use this ad sale percentage number and what it tells us in context. So as I said before, ad sale percentage is simply your ad sales divided by your total sales. Again, you can do this on an account level. You can do this on a parent ASIN level. You can do this on a child variation level if you want. I would still recommend doing it on a parent level and an account, like overall account level. And so what this tells you is, this tells you how reliant you are on ads to drive sales. And this can be highly important to contextualize things like your ACOS, as well as especially your total ACOS metrics. So we've had accounts before where we might be, like I was consulting on some brands where they were really looking to optimize their total ACOS metrics. They really needed to bring this number down. And while looking at the ACOS and the total ACOS in isolation, and then simply looking at the total sales volume and identifying like we need to bring this number down, in essence, all you can really do from an ads perspective, if you're looking to lower total ACOS numbers, is going to be lowering your ad spend. However, using the ad sale percentage gives you context as to how quickly or how incrementally and slowly you should be lowering your ad spend. So in this particular case, the brand was very adamant that they need to lower the ad spend, but when looking at the ad sale percentage, 75 to 80% of their total sales were driven through ads. In this case, if we significantly decrease the ad spend, more likely than not, we're going to have a significant decrease on the total sales volume as well. Now, oftentimes for profitability, we really still have to bring the total ACOS down. So I get it. It's not that we have to just say, oh, well, that's the way it is and there's nothing we can do about it. Definitely need to start optimizing. But again, given the context of the ad sale percentage, it's pretty obvious that we needed to be very, very strategic with where, how, and when we were going to start bringing down the total ad spend volume. Now, there is some debate as to whether like a very high ad sale percentage is going to mean that you are, as it's called, cannibalizing your organic sales, meaning someone sees your organic and then sees your ad and then clicks the ad, and then the ad is attributed to the sale, where if you didn't have the ad on the page, they still would have purchased. There's not a really cut and dry answer to this. The one other piece of context that you can look at is if I have a high ad sale percentage, meaning a lot of my sales are attributed to my ads, and I have a high total ACOS number, do I have good organic ranking? So if I have very high organic ranking and very high organic visibility, then it might be worth testing bringing down my ad spend. Maybe, again, you still want to be strategic here, but it could be that there's cannibalization happening. However, if you have a high total ACOS number and you have a high ad sale percentage number and you don't have a good organic ranking or good organic or visibility, then it's most likely a product market fit issue, meaning you're struggling with rankings. And that's why those numbers, ad sale percentage, total ACOS, and consequently profitability, aren't very good. So again, really thank this commenter for following up with this question. I hope this has given you a lot of context. And as always, if you want to be getting these exclusive newsletters and potentially having follow-up questions of your own, feel free to check the description for the link to sign up for the newsletter.